Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Abdullah Samir podcast. I'm your host, your friendly neighborhood ex-Muslim, Abdullah Samir. Today, I'm joined by special guest, Rishvin Ismath. Now, I found out about Rishvin from, I guess, I don't know, a fan of yours, a friend of yours, the Sri Lankan free thinker, and he sent me a message on Twitter to check you out. And when I heard your story for the first time, I was amazed at what you've been through and what you've done just because you're not Muslim and what you had to go through. So I think we have a very interesting conversation ahead of us. Those of you who are new here, I'm back on the main channel. Yes, the main channel is still here, still doing well. I've been using a second channel just for a little bit, and I'm hoping to start using this one again once all the monetization issues get fixed. Rishwan, how's it going?
Hi, I'm good at the moment, and thank you very much for hosting me in your channel. It's a proud moment and the happiest moment. I have to say that when I enter into these things, Abdullah Samir, uh, Apostle Prophet, Hari Sultan, Amin Nawabi, all big names in YouTube. So today I'm in your channel. I'm really happy, and I thank A Navaratna from he's a Sri Lankan free thinker. So the one who I think he's your follower. So he got to know about me, and then he get me connected to you. So I thank him. Thank you, A Navaratna.
And
Yes.
so you have quite the story, and what is unfortunate, if you ask me, is the fact that you have such a story to tell, that you went through all of these things simply because you're asserting yourself as a disbeliever, simply because you're not a believer. I mean, what kind of world do we live in that it's an issue for someone to not be Muslim? I mean, people in the West, they choose not to be Christian all the time, and there's no big disaster that happens to their life. I mean, sometimes there is. I mean, to be honest, it happens sometimes, but not usually, not to the extent that we're gonna go to. So it's unfortunate, but it's so important that and it's so great that you're able to talk about it, because there's always risks involved. I face very little risk for what I do, even though I do get like cyber threats and all that. For in terms of physical safety, I'm pretty okay, which is not something that we can take for granted all over the Muslim world. So can you tell me a little bit about Sri Lanka for people that don't know?
Yeah, as you say that I went through a lot, but to all of your listeners who are going to know about the Sri Lankan ex-Muslim, it will be a surprise to know that Sri Lanka is not a Muslim country at all. Even we don't have Muslims for 20%. The Muslim population in Sri Lanka is somewhere around 10%. But still,
Wow.
uh, the extremists from this 10% is capable enough to make attempt murdering me and doing bomb blast, and their influences started from 60s or 70s with the arrival of Sri Lanka Jamaat Islami. This Jamaat Islami is the branch of Maulana Maududi's one, but he found in Pakistan. So arrival of this is systematically started, and the pinnacle was the Easter bomb blast. So far, I don't know where it will go, but it came to that level. So it
Yeah.
started a long time back, and we still live only 10% in Sri Lanka, and Sri Lanka is an island nearby India, and Muslims are, as I said, somewhere around 10%, and we have the free education system. Why I'm saying it will be useful when I'm referring something later on. So we have the free education system, and 97 more than 97% of the students attend to the government schools in Sri Lanka. And we have the free education system. Only around 2 point some percentage of the students go for the private schools.
Mm-hmm.
And
So far, it
and
sounds pretty good. I mean, it sounds like Muslims are actually a minority, and most people go to government schools, like public schools. So if that's the case, then why is it so difficult to leave Islam in Sri Lanka openly?
well, yeah. So you put the cherry top of the cake at the beginning of this conversation. I have some books here to show you. Okay, you can see this book. I can. Oh yes, you can see this one,
Yeah.
right? And here you can see the Right. Okay. Here you can see this one is the official Sri Lankan government implement. This is the book. It's written in my language, Tamil Islam, and
Yeah.
for 11 grade 11 students. Okay, it's students around 15 or 16. They study this one. This is in same book in other language. It's Sinhalese. So Sri Lanka have two main language and Tamil also. This is the another book of Islam that I studied during my period, and this book's been in used from 1978, I believe, 79, 78 to 79. Yes, from 78 is in practice, and this book being taught, and this is still in the syllabus of Sri Lankan government schools. I said 97 point odd percentage of the students
Yeah.
go to the government school. So in this book, it's clearly mentioned leaving Islam, punishment, murder. So, so it doesn't say capital punishment or anything. It says murder.
Yeah.
That Tamil word used here is kole. So when somebody started studying at 1978 at the age of 16 till today these subjects, so around 32 years ago, from 16, he's 54-year-old. A
Yeah.
54-year-old Muslim man have studied that someone leave Islam should be murdered.
Wow. That's crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's okay. You don't have to find the page. It's fine. We believe you. I
No,
was
I
gonna
told
say,
you.
oh, okay.
Because well, when I got to know that I'm going to be live with you, there were some
Yeah.
accusations. Even there are people, they always put accusations like we are lying because they don't believe that such things are in Islam. Most of the people, they don't know what it is in Islam. I always
Mhm.
tell the people, Muslims, to study Islam. Don't try to just come forward and defend Islam, because I left Islam after studying Islam just because I was born Muslim and I didn't agree with Islam and I didn't leave it. I I, I throw my weight to follow Islam. Even I have left my jobs because when I found that it is not going good with Islam, so then I even left my jobs in tourism because of Islam. So I put a lot of weight to follow this one. Even it had been life changing decisions to follow Islam. I did it. So just because I studied this one up to certain depth, luckily I had some brain that was useful in a broader way. Finally I got to
Yeah.
know the things and I left Islam. So just what I'm showing these people, at least oh, I think the camera is yeah,
Yeah.
here
Just
you can see this is if somebody understand Tamil they can see this one. So it doesn't
yeah.
see only killing of apostates. It's also said that if somebody married and engaged with adultery should be stoned to death. It's also mentioned what kind of medieval punishment that is mentioned in the Sri Lanka textbooks. You maybe wonder how it comes. These books are freely issued by the government of Sri Lanka under the Ministry of Education, Educational Publication Department. Deliver this one to all the students who studies Islam in the government schools. This means almost 97 or 98% of the Muslim students study this one. So some dropout or somebody who don't go to the school may say that, oh, I didn't study this one, but I can't take the responsibility because there are, I see comments, oh, I also went to the government school, but I didn't study this one. You may be a dropout, or you might have not go to the school the day that it rained and you slept at home. So I can't
Yeah.
take the responsibility, but most of the students have studied. And while I was in school, I studied this one. And Ridda has been what do you call categorized into three different categories, like the one you do with your action, with your words, and with your mind. So
Oh
these
yeah.
examples are given, and even in the grade 11 examination, there was a question: how many kinds of riddas are there, and give the examples like pronouncing
Oh
something,
wow.
or thinking by the brain, or with action. These all ridda. So it's said in the Sri Lankan school textbook. So so everybody mostly who went to the government school and study these things have this one. Apart from this one, there are Juma sermons where Maulavis sell this one. Those who leave Islam should be killed, and a lot of preachers do these things. And Islamic movements such as Jamaat Islami, when they're publishing their books, they give more weight to the people like Yusuf al-Karlavi. You call Karlavi? Yusuf
Yes,
al-Karlavi,
Karabi.
and this guy also, yeah, this guy also had issued a fatwa that if they want any apostasy law, the Islam would have been disappeared. So this we also had justified this one under this kind of situation. It's very dangerous, and Muslims are very influential in Sri Lanka. So you
So
can I show you the books. If I want,
sorry for interrupting you. What I want to understand is, I mean, in Canada, we also study Islam in school. I mean, my son is in a Catholic school, and he has a class on it. I mean, he has a subject they study Islam as well, but like they don't go into the details of like, oh, the capital punishment for death and stuff like that. It's more like, yeah, Islam has 5 pillars. Islam is, basically, it's very high level. Why are they going into so much detail as to those who leave Islam? I mean, those who leave Islam would be killed, would never be allowed to be even taught in the school, because I can't imagine that they would allow that. But tell me why or how is that possible? Who's responsible for this?
well, those who prepared the book in 1970s, because I say that, okay, in the personal conversation, I said that Sri Lanka, this Jamaat Islami, this Maududi's branch, started in Sri Lanka in 1950s. And they had the dream of creating a global caliphate, Islamic, what do you call it, the caliphate, Islamic state,
Islamic,
Islamic kingdom, or one of the state, like, and making Sri Lanka an Islamic country. So they had the two goals. So the people who were connected to them systematically came into these publications where these books been prepared and written, and so they inserted this kind of Sharia law. So not only killing the apostates, even stoning to death to adultery is also mentioned, and chopping off the hand for theft is also mentioned in this kind of books. This is school book, sorry, not this kind of book. This in this school book, and school teacher's guide. This book is for students. These books are for students. So there is different kind of books for teachers guide. So in these books, I found one of these books was a kind of a blueprint for creating a future Islamic state.
Jeez.
Yeah, and I took this math.
That's interesting. Sorry, just to kind of emphasize or like make it clear what you're saying. The reason why in Canada we don't study this type of Islam in schools, and the reason why you do in Sri Lanka, even though you're not a Muslim country, Canada is not a Muslim country. What's the difference? The difference is the Islamists. So Maududi is Abu Ala Maududi is one of the chief Islamists, Sayyid Qutb, and these guys are luminaries for them, and these are the guys that they wanted to make Islam political again, right? They want to bring back political Islam. They want to reestablish Islamic law. For the other type of Muslims, they don't consider Islamic law to be as important. Not private Islamic law. Of course, private Islamic law is important. They're talking about like hudud punishments, like capital punishments, and the Islamic State idea. So because of that, they were able to influence the school system and to get these like political Islamic teachings into the textbooks. So basically that's what happened. Is that correct?
Yeah. They had the dream of building up an Islamic state and country. But actually, I would say that the bomb blast on Easter Sunday spoiled their long-term plan. This is the truth. So these guys are now angry with those who carried on the attack, because they had a long term plan, and they were working on that one. Because of this bomb blast, everything got spoiled.
So we'll get to that as well. I want to talk about the bomb blast and what happened. For those of you who don't know, I'm just going to share my screen to show what happened. Just quickly, we'll great pop-up blocker. So can you just tell everyone what happened, on what that is, what that incident is that you're talking about?
Sri Lanka, mainly these two kind of organization got involved with this. Oh yeah, you got your screen, right?
Yeah, go ahead. You just explain it.
Okay. Two kind of organization were into this involved with these Easter bomb blast attacks. they started their terrorism activities months before Easter attack, and they had carried on some murders on policeman and one informer. And they attempt to kill me twice, but luckily I'm escaped and I'm here.
Wait.
So
Let's not talk we'll get to that. I don't
yeah,
want to
we will
talk
talk
about.
about
Yeah,
we,
yeah.
we will
I
talk
don't want
about
to talk about that.
later.
Yeah,
So these people came from two different groups. One is from Jamaat Islami, other one from uh, these Wahhabist Tawhid movements. These both they were climbing the mountain. From one side is climbing from the morning side of the mountain, the other one is from the evening side of the mountain. So once they come to the top, they both join each other. So wherever from you are climbing a mountain, the peak is one. This is a single peak. So they joined in the peak and formed the local wing of ISIS. So once they
Mm.
found this ISIS is being operated, they found, okay, what they studied in the books, Hadith and Quran, they saw in front of their eyes, okay, it's being practiced, slavery and jizya and all these things that they studied that as the Prophet did and instructed in Quran. So they found it. So they went in for this one. And
Mm.
they planned this attack on 2019 Easter Sunday, that was April 21st, in several churches, Catholic churches, and another church belongs to a different Catholic group that's in Zion Church in Metiklo, and star-class hotels in Sri Lanka for the tourists who are mostly from European countries, Catholics or Christians, and they were there for the Easter Sunday morning breakfast. They blasted in same time within a small different like 10 to 15 minutes they blasted, and almost 260 odd people lost their lives, and more than 500 people got injured,
Wow.
sustained
You're
injuries.
you're saying that just to reiterate, you're saying that what happened was the ISIS teachings took hold in Sri Lanka, a non-Muslim country, because of the work of the Islamists, the seeds they put into the school system, so that even though 97% of people go to public schools, Muslims had already had this teaching. So now, since they were 16 and now they're in the 50s, they had this teaching that Islam has all of this hudud, this capital punishment, and all of these things. So when ISIS came, it took hold quite rapidly. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I wouldn't say that 100% of the Muslims supported this. No, it's wrong.
Oh,
If
of
I
course.
say that, I'll be wrong. But those who really wanted to follow Islam from their heart and whatever they studied from Quran and Hadith, they were attracted. They were
Yes.
like a magnet pulling the iron through it towards it. When they saw about this Baghdadi's caliphate, their heart went through that direction, like a Muslim turning towards the Kaabatullah for prayer.
Mhm.
These people got to know about what is in Raqqa and Syria. They got their face turned towards Baghdadi, Abu Bakr
Okay.
al-Baghdadi, and
Yeah.
so that's how they got it.
Okay, that's what I was saying. Yeah, no, we're definitely not saying all Muslims support ISIS. Definitely all Muslims do not support ISIS. Definitely the majority do not support ISIS. What we're saying is that there were people though that because of Islam in particular, they found an appeal in the Islamic doctrine that ISIS is propagating, and that is the problem. That is one of the big problems with Islam is this sort of terrorism ideology that keeps coming back. It keeps coming back, and you have to keep fighting it because it keeps coming back. Every time you kill it, it comes back again. And the reason it comes back is because the texts have problematic verses in it, and many Muslims are in cognitive dissonance. They don't want to admit that the reason for ISIS is Islam. I mean, it's so obvious, right, to anyone else that's outside of Islam that, hey, buddy, your book has problems. Your books have problems. But to Muslims, the ones that don't believe in ISIS, they don't want to admit that this is an actual problem, right, in Islam.
Yeah, yeah. The leader, the name of the leader who carried out the suicide attacks was Zahran. So people often see that some extremist or fundamentalist expression after the bomb blast, they blame these people as Zahranists. But actually, they should not blame Zahran. They should, if they hate something like that, they should blame Muhammad, Prophet Muhammad, because he was the inspiration. They tried to follow him, not Zahran. Zahran was only a follower of Muhammad who tried to be his best. And well, there's a question why these people carried out suicide attacks, and suicide attacks are prohibited in Islam. So, do you have any answer? I have an answer.
Go ahead.
Okay, Muhammad he himself tried to commit suicide. right? When he started getting, when he claimed that he get the revelation from
Yeah.
God, and he was coming out of the people and preaching that Ikra
Yeah.
Bismi Rabbika, whatever it is, and within no time, Waraka bin Nawfal passed away, supposed to be the first Allah,
Yeah.
passed away, and all of a sudden this Wahi coming of the Wahi revelation, the God revelation has stopped post. So Muhammad
Yeah.
got fed up. He
Yeah.
just started a new business. All of a sudden, his business manager passed away. He couldn't run the business. The man behind who
Yeah.
wrote these things that I believe. So I suspect. So this guy, this Varga bin Nawfal passed away. Muhammad went to the cliff and he wanted to throw himself off from the mountain to
Yeah.
commit suicide. He had attempted this one several times. So this hadith is in Bukhari. You know what is the most disturbing thing is this hadith is translated in English. They have
Hmm.
translated the later part also, where the Muhammad had attempted suicide. But in Tamil, even in TamilQuran.com, in other websites and other publications, they go the translation. They do the translation up to where Warqa bin Nawfal passed away and the revolution stopped. They don't go to the detail. They don't translate where it is mentioned Muhammad tried to throw himself out of the mountain. They don't in Tamil. I don't find it in Tamil.
Oh wow!
Even
Because I know this is even in Ibn Ishaq, right? I believe it's in the Sirah as
it's
well.
in Bukhari. It's in Bukhari also, right? But
Yeah.
why these people don't translate this one? Because they don't want Muslims to know the real Muhammad. They want to give a different picture, and these people
Yeah.
thinking, "Oh my God, this is he's my Habibi, like my heart, and I love him, and he's the best man walk on the ground, like that."
Yeah.
Actually, it's not, because if Muslims know what kind of person he was, mostly most of the Muslim may try not to follow him, because I
Yeah.
dedicated my life for following him.
Hmm. Yeah. I would just say that the early incident of him committing or trying to kill himself wouldn't be a proof that the jihadists use, even though that is true and that is in the collection. What I've heard, because I used to listen to Anwar Avlaki and jihadis, basically jihadi doctrine stuff, and what they say is that to defend suicide bombing is they say that it is one of the strategies of war. And they give the example of the hadith where and Anwar Avlaki mentioned this in his jihad set, Mashari al-Ashwak. He said that there was a hadith where there was a man that was one of the companions was fighting, and there was a big army on the other side, and what they did is he said, put me on your shield, and they threw him into the fort. I don't know if this was at the battle of
Khaybar,
the
Battle of
yeah, I don't know
Khaybar,
if
I
that's
guess, to,
yeah, I'm not sure which
to
battle this was.
open the gate. I think he
Yeah,
went
yeah, I
inside
think that
and he
one.
fought and opened the. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if that's the case, Anwar al-Awlaki says, well, he was gonna die for sure, so that's suicide, right? And then, but the other scholars say, no, that's not suicide because it wasn't guaranteed he was gonna die. Whereas with suicide belt or something, it's guaranteed. Whatever the case, jihadis are gonna be jihadis, and they're gonna find ways. It's pretty easy. It's almost trivial whether or not like suicide bombing is halal. And by the way, the same sheikh you talked about, Yusuf Qaradawi, who the funny thing is, Yusuf Qaradawi is known. He has a book called The Halal and the Haram in Islam. I remember my Muslim friends would make fun of him and they would say it's the halal and the halal in Islam because he makes everything halal. So he's actually quite liberal in some ways, right? Like he says music is halal, you can get a mortgage, certain
Mm-hmm.
types of halal music. You can get a mortgage for yourself if it's your own house. But he says suicide bombing, he said if it wasn't for suicide bombing, like look at Palestine, something to that effect. That of course it's okay because we use it to win the battles, right? So yeah, unfortunately, suicide bombing is definitely allowed by some scholars, and some scholars don't allow it. There's difference of opinion. Um, but anyways, regardless of that, what you said is a very
I will add one thing to that one.
uh,
Yusuf al-Qaradawi's fatwa encouraging suicide attacks, permitting suicide attacks, was translated to Tamil, and it was published in a magazine, official magazine, monthly magazine, published by Sri Lanka Jamaat Islami, called Al Hasanat. It published that fatwa. Suicide attacks are permitted in Islam in Tamil in Sri Lanka. So It was published in Sri Lanka. So then
Oh,
after few years, we witnessed that one.
what the heck? What? What? Man, you have some like extreme elements over there.
Yeah, that's what I say. That if you say that Sri Lanka only have 10% of Muslims, and people would wonder what it is like. You can leave Islam even in some liberal liberal Muslim majority countries.
Yeah.
It was not that much a big deal where Muslims are 40% or 50%. Even in some countries where they are more than that, not following religion is not a big matter. But here it's only 10%, around 10%. I don't even say that 10%. It's around 10%. But
Jeez, man. I
yeah,
mean, just the
it's very
fact
tough.
that the terrorist attack shows you how bad it's gone, and that's unfortunate. So before we talk about, I mean, I want to get to how you got involved with this. So let's go back to the beginning. How did you end up leaving Islam?
Uh, well, I have to tell you, how did I end up entering into Islam? Just because I was born Muslim, that I didn't enter into Islam.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Okay, let's start with
yeah,
that. Yeah.
okay, okay. My father used to be an atheist, but a secret atheist. He never declared himself as a Muslim, but he always find the best excuse to not to go to attend any prayers. And as far as my memory uh, of 29 years with him, he I remember he went to masjid only 2 times or something, like when he had no real escape. So, but he never tried to put anything on me. But I have to say that he is more into the left side, and he was a fan, a follower or fan, or I don't know how to call it. He's more into leftist ideologies and Mao Zedong and Marxist ideologies. But he didn't teach me anything. Like, he didn't try to influence me. He let me try to find my truth my own way. But like, it's a kind of father son thing. Like, okay, father was a streak and I want to study. Then my father is always putting this restriction on me like that. And then I thought, okay, this guy is not praying properly. That's what is the thing, that I should be a good Muslim. And that's how I got a kind of interest in Islam. In 1990, we moved to a town called Mavanella. From 1991, I started studying from Mavanella Zahira College. This in the central part of Sri Lanka, where the Jamaat Islami was very influential. And my Islam teacher was a Jamaat Islami man, and he started inviting me for the Quran classes on Thursdays. And this is how I went to the Islam. And it started when I started studying Islam and Hadith and Quran lectures and all. And the Jamaat Islami was the moment that I told that Maulana Maudud, this one, that have the dream of
Hmm.
creating a global caliphate. So
Yeah.
this is how it went on. And in 2004, we had the tsunami, this tidal waves attacking Sri Lanka. That also changed my mind a lot. Okay, I thought, okay, if I had died, what would have happened? Okay, I should live my rest of my life for Islam and something like that. And then I left my job also. Then I came back to my village and started doing a small job. And I spent a lot of time with studying Islam with Maulavis and all. Okay, at that time also, I had an idea like Muhammad married Aisha, but that was only one isolated case. And it is not, we don't need to follow that one. And he changed the rule and something like that. This is how Jamaat Islami kind of apologetic explanation they gave us. So I believe that one. But from 2004 onwards, I was more involved with this Wahhabist or Salafist ideology. Then one day, we had a chance of talking with the mullah, a scholar. I can't say scholar, it's a Maulavi, who came for like a sermon in Mavanella. His name is Mujahid ibn Razi. Now he's in Saudi Arabia. He's doing his on YouTube channel and all. I should thank this guy. So while we were talking, like this child marriage case came, and there was another guy with me, and he said, "Yeah, it was Prophet Muhammad did, but it is not. It's prohibited. Like, we can't do that one." Then he said, "Who said it is not prohibited?" I said, "It was only in the Hadith." And like, then he said, "No, it's not in the Hadith. It's in Quran." And he took the Quran and said that, read 64:5. So 65:4, right? Surah Talaq,
Yeah.
verse
Yeah.
number 4. Yeah, and he said that, and that one I mentioned that about three kind of people's iddah. This is the third one is the prepubescent girls, that the girls who have not attained to age. That means little girls. So he said that if it is mentioned that divorce is mentioned, that marriage is also there. This is in Quran, so there's no Quran verses prohibiting this one. And some people say, bring another verse, like saying that there's no marriage valid without the consent of a girl. Yes, the
Yeah.
hadith is there. What this hadith said? without the consent of the girl, the marriage is not valid. But another hadith said, if she is a virgin, her silence is the consent.
Consent. Yeah.
Yeah, if you go and ask a 6-year-old girl, if she is silent, marriage is done. Nikah kabul, visa kabul, it's done.
Yeah.
So child marriage is permitted in Islam. So then later on, after leaving Islam and all, I found your website, and you had added more detail about that one. And idda is only necessary from Quran, that you say that idda is only necessary only after the marriage. If the intercourse happened, then only the idda is necessary, because Quran verses say that after you marry to these women and before you sleep with them, you divorce them. So you don't need to give them their mahar, and there's no idda period.
Yeah.
So if the idda period is prescribed, that means there should be an intercourse. So Islam permits sex with prepubescent girls. So he explained these things, but not this idda part, the other part he explained, but I got it in my mind. Then the same night we talk about slavery. Then we say the slavery is also prohibited. He said, where it is prohibited? In Islam, it's not prohibited. It says it is there. And he said, today we are Muslims minority here. One day if we happen to attack the Sinhalese in Sri Lanka and go for a jihad or something, then their women are our slaves. They are our right-hand forces. So we can use them. This is Islam permits, he said. But okay, I got these two things in my mind, but they didn't disturb me. Okay, I thought, okay, something, okay, Allah is more powerful, because my faith on Islam was very strong. So I was with more Salafis, and if you allow me to share my screen, then I can show how I used to be.
Sure.
Okay, 1 minute. So
what was this guy that you were talking to? He was an imam or something? I
yeah,
missed
he's a
that.
Maulavi. He's an Imam. Yes, Imam. He's an Imam. And he
Okay.
said,
Wahhabi imam, basically. Salafi,
yeah,
because, right?
yeah, here he's in the Salafi.
Okay.
Okay, and I guess you can share the.
Yep. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay. This is me when I was with these Salafist guys and with these Islamic ideologies. Most of the people think that I just dropped somewhere from nowhere else, and I'm just start criticizing Islam. I saw one guy in your tweet also. He was kind of coming attacking and said that did you know Islam? That did you study that and this? I don't know. I hope this guy will be watching this one. And to another guy also, I told him, okay, you come to the program. Okay, I'll post this one. So he said these things, okay? So that I was more into the Salafist, and he said two things, that prepubescent girl can be married, and slavery is not prohibited. Sexual slavery is not prohibited in Islam. So these two things I kept in my mind, but my faith was very strong. So I didn't take any action. I was still as usual as I used to be. So in 2009, I happened to go to Saudi Arabia for employment, because I didn't choose to go anywhere else, because I felt even Dubai would be a Jahiliyat environment. It's been an Islamic environment. So where I want more pious Islamic environment. So then I went to Saudi Arabia. So while working only, I got a lot of money in my hand, and first time I got my own laptop and internet connection. Then in the end of 2011, I came to Sri Lanka. So I was in my own business. At the time, I had my a lot of spare time, free time, spend time on internet with my laptop. So I just started come across some kind of criticism about Islam. There was one group. We just need 2 minutes of your time to report do the mass reporting of un-Islamic and pages. So they added me. This is a secret group. Okay, they added me. So at the beginning, what I did is I was just reporting these pages, but I can't help seeing the pages and the content. So I found some interesting criticism about Islam. Then what I did, instead of reporting this page, I bookmarked. I wanted to see what this kind of argument they are bringing against Islam, because I wanted to prepare myself to give the reply.
Yeah, the model, yeah.
Yeah. So then I saw maybe these people might have got their ideas from Alizina or somewhere, maybe from Amin Nawabi. I don't know. That was in 2012. Who was active at the time? I don't know. I was a Muslim. So in 2012, so I saw this criticism. So it just started disturbing my mind, because I already studied that Muhammad married a prepubescent girl, and
Yeah.
it is allowed in Quran, and about sexual
Exactly.
slavery. Yeah. So I'm from Sri Lanka, and I faced the civil war of Sri Lanka. Indian army came, and we were in the Tamil Tiger control, and army came and captured all the areas. So if it was an Islamic military, I thought my mother, my sister, my relatives, everything would be halal to them as slaves.
Yeah.
So, but Indian army did not do that one. So that was also struck in my mind. It was
Mhm.
in 1999 or some, sorry, 1989 or something that Indian army was a small boy. But I remember that how came they attacked these shootings and all going on, and they. So then I thought, okay, this is something seriously wrong. But very slowly my iman started shaking, and the thought started like coming out, okay, from the out of the shell.
Mhm.
While this was going on, I met two interesting people when I went to Jaffna. That's my hometown. After a long gap, I met two interesting people for the first time. While we three were talking, they were talking about the education system of Sri Lanka. Their view, what they were talking was totally a different dimension to me at that time. I asked, "Are you people Hindus?" They said, "No, we were atheists." I thought, "Wow, I've been always seeing everything through this color glass. Halal or haram, is it good or bad in Islam? Nothing else." So these people were talking in a different dimension. They were in a different view, much higher than me. So it's also disturbed. Then I came back to Colombo and my home, and slowly I dropped praying Fajr. So Iman was getting weak. Slowly I dropped praying Fajr. Then thereafter, I stopped praying 5 times. And every Jummah I went for Friday. Still, my research was going on, search was going on about finding the truth. And it continued for like a few months. Uh, while this was going on, and I started skipping the Jummah also. But every third Jummah I will run, because there's a hadith that if you continuously miss three Jummah without reason, that you will be a kafir. So I don't want to fall into that one. So every third Jummah I went to this one. So this was going on while I got another thought, a different thought came into my mind. Okay, if there's a God, Allah, okay, He sent His messenger with His message. Give me a minute, please. He sent His messenger with a message to the whole mankind 1,400 years ago. How many percentage of the people have accepted his message? Less than 30%. It's 25%, right? Muslims are around
Yep.
23 or 24%. Yeah, less than 25% of the people only have accepted. Within that 25, how many percentage of the people have clearly grabbed, understood what is the correct Islam, what actually the God tried to say me? Because you see, lot of numbers of my even more than 100 of different views about every issue inside Islam, and lot of groups. Everyone claims that we are following the correct path. So all these groups try to follow the correct path, but they couldn't find the correct path. So then I saw this: if there's an Allah, He is a big time failure, right? Because he created human beings, right? He created human being, and he sent his revolution, but human being cannot understand his revolution. What kind of failure? I got,
Yeah.
for example, this Apple company manufacture their own iPhones. When they make a new update on their iOS system, it is perfectly matching to their product.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the Benz company or Audi, when they manufacture a spare part for their car, it is perfectly fitting to the car. But this God created man and sending the revolution, still people are trying to follow the correct path. They couldn't find. Sufi saying that we are correct, and Salafi say we are correct, and Tabligis is one way, and these Irhabis are another way. And we want to fight, and you understand these Irhabis, right? Is the jihadist mentalist people. So they are another way. So that I got, this is a big time failure. There cannot be a God like this. If he is a big father figure, then he can't be a failure. That was the point that I understood. Uh, Islam is a failure. Then the second thing, this Adam Eve story. What mistake Adam did? Nothing. When
Mhm.
Allah was about to create the man, he said that
Yeah.
I am going to create my Khalifa on earth. Then the Malaikas, according to Islam, Malaikas ask, are you going to create somebody who is going to do fitna in the world? Chaos in the world?
Yeah.
He said, I know more than what you know. to Malaikas. This is the same answers that every Muslim scholar will say that you don't know Islam, that I know more than what you know. Okay, so Allah said, but what? At the end of the day, what we are witnessing? A lot of chaos around the world, right? And a lot of people reject.
Yeah.
Yeah, so because of this issue, Satan said that I won't bow down to Adam. Okay, that was the problem, the egoist problem between Allah and Shaitan. What did
Yeah.
Adam had to do that? Adam. What was his rule there? He was nothing, right? Did he ask Satan to bow down him? No. Then why God have to take revenge on us rather than settling his egoist issue with Satan directly? He should have dealt
Yeah.
it with directly with Satan. Too powerful superpower. We are all poor, very poor, right? Why he send this Satan, give all the freedom and sent and goes and end of the day he says in Quran, I created most of the human and jinnis for hellfire.
Yeah.
I can't remember this verse, but it's said in Quran. I created most of you for hellfire
Yeah.
from jinn. So then, what kind of failed God he declare himself? He declare that I created most of you for hell, just
Yeah.
because he had an egoistic issue with Satan. So then I was 100% sure this religion is not from a God who created me. Then I didn't know where to go. I was so confused. I found Islam is completely wrong. Then I couldn't satisfied with any other religion because most of this logic apply to all other religions because none of these religions have 50% of the followers. Even Christianity was the majority religion followed by most of the people, but still it has its own divisions like Protestant, Catholics, Jehovah's Witness, Mormons, and a lot, and Seventh-day Adventist Church and all. So I didn't find any religion have the answer to this question. So then I was searching what was my identity. I didn't understand anything. So I was alone. I thought maybe I was the only one. What I'm going to do? And then I found a interesting term called SBNR, spiritual but not religious. Okay, I thought, okay, I may be like that because I still think there can be a God, but these religions are man-made. So that for a small period of time, my religious view on Facebook was SBNR, but not for most of the Muslims. Or none of the Muslims didn't understand what I try to say because maybe for the S they may say it's a Salafist and Salafist national something like that. SBNR they didn't understand. For the S they might have thought that okay,
Did
this guy
you
is trying to say
make
Salafi.
this up? This SBNR? I never heard of this before. It sounds like deism.
Yeah, deism. Yes, deism. But that
Oh.
was the first time I found something on Facebook like that. Then it
Ah.
took me for another year to find okay, there's a term called ex-Muslim. That time I didn't know any of you. Even I didn't know Mariam. I didn't know anybody. I left myself after studying Islam. But most of the people think that okay, I left Islam because I read some book of Dawkins or
Yeah.
Sam Harris or somebody. They think no, I didn't read anything. I
Yeah.
left Islam after studying Islam.
Yeah.
So that's what even in my other interview with Jamal a couple of months back also I said Muslims, please study the life of Muhammad, but study it properly with an
Yeah.
open mind.
So you
Okay,
so you
so
found out ex-Muslims, and did that have what effect did that have? What was it, do you like? Because I'm always saying that the ex-Muslim label is important for this very reason, because it brings awareness to the cause, and it brings awareness to people that don't know that you can leave Islam. A lot of people in the world don't know that. I mean, it's
yeah,
simply just an example of that, right?
yeah. Because even I didn't know that, but I can leave Islam. But after leaving and using this term, there are a lot of youths and a lot of men. Even there's one man from the east. He's around 65. He's a retired government officer. He had all these doubts for a long time, and he wanted to leave Islam, but he didn't have any option. But after seeing these things, and he came to Facebook, and he contacted me, and he was so happy to see that people like us existing. So this ex-Muslim identity is very important because if I had called myself irreligious or atheist, people wouldn't have thought that I left Islam because Muslims wouldn't have thought. Uh, I can remember when I was very small, like I can't remember, I can't remember my exact age, maybe around 10, 11, 12, like that. I had a habit of reading newspapers. One day I found a word called atheist in Tamil. I went and I asked my mother, Mom, what is this word? She said, the people who do not follow any religion. I said, are there people like that? She said, yes, dad has some friends. Because I told you my father was a leftist and an atheist. She put it like this, dad has some friends. Really? Yeah, they are from Hindu religion and Christianity. That's what she said. So nobody could think that people could leave Islam because Islam kills one side,
Yeah.
and other side, and Muslims don't think that they can leave Islam. Because when I started expressing myself first in Facebook, most of the people accused me as Shia because I thought that from their understanding, my views were different. They couldn't understand that I could leave Islam. They thought that I have gone to I have gone to Shia sects.
Yeah.
This has happened.
And sometimes they assume you're Christian too, because that's another possibility, right?
Yeah, I didn't get you.
I'm saying sometimes they assume that you become a Christian, because I've had people tell me, "Oh, is your God so great?" And they think I'm Christian, right? Your God came as a man, and people assume I'm Christian, and I'm not, because I'm not Muslim. They just somehow, I think in some countries like Somalia or something, people they leave
Okay.
Islam, Christian or something. I don't know. I'm not sure why, but I've had a couple of people actually assume I was Christian. I was like, I'm not Christian.
Okay, then you should play some Marilyn Manson soundtrack in front of your videos.
Put it upside down, cross or something.
Yeah. So this
So,
Antichrist,
yeah.
yeah,
So
because
then,
I didn't face much that kind of criticism.
yeah.
But most of the people thought that I became a Shia. But later on, there were some stories like I became a Christian also, but it didn't pick up much
Yeah.
because I was bashing everything. But most of the accusation in the earlier days was they said that this guy is a Shia. This guy was a Shia. That's what they said. But later on, they found it okay. I'm not even a Shia because Shias
Mhm.
don't criticize Muhammad.
Oh, in Pakistan, if you're criticizing Islam, you're right away Qadiani. So you
Ah,
basically,
Ahmadi.
if you, I've been called Qadiani many times too. I was like,
Oh, yeah,
anyways,
because Muslims fail to understand that people can leave Islam.
some
That's
Muslims.
yeah, most of the Muslim. In my part of world, is most of the
Oh
Muslims.
yeah.
And when I was Muslim, I knew only two ex-Muslims. That time I didn't know that word, but I knew only two people who had left Islam, all through my school days and all days with Jamaat Islami. One
Mhm.
was Dr. Salman Rushdie. The other one
Oh
was Dr. Taslima Nasreen. I didn't know even a third person until I go to Saudi Arabia. That was Dr. Wafa Sultan. That was the only three ex-Muslim people that I knew while I was Muslim. But
mhm.
most of my life, I knew only two. So I was made to believe, Jamaat Islami and all these Islamic scholars and all people made to believe Taslima Nasreen and Salman Rushdie left Islam because America, CIA, Israel, Mossad paid big amount of monies and citizenships in the West, and this is how they left Islam. This is I believed. That's what I'm not getting much angry with somebody accusing me for how much do you get. I said, okay, whatever you want, you assume, no problem. So this is how Muslims are made to think. Somebody is leaving, he is paid. Okay, but if a Muslim is leaving Islam for money, that's also showing how Islam is a failure because this person getting the money would know that he is going to live only for another 50 years, 60 years, but eternal heaven. And with
Yeah.
this money, this person cannot have intercourse, one intercourse for 70 years. But it's in some hadiths say that there are 70 virgins. You won't find 70 virgins here, and you won't have that time for that length.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so
It's definitely a failure with the God that created us. If he actually designed us in such a way that 80% of us, more than 4/5 of the world's population is going to go to hell. Like you said, if Apple made a product where 80% of them were failures, I mean, that wouldn't be a successful company. And so if God is actually, it just doesn't make a lot of sense, right?
yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, that's what I say. That God created man, and He sent His message. So the message
Yeah.
is not fitting to the product of him. Him.
It's
So
not
he's a
operating.
failure.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't know how to update his product with his
Yeah.
message. He failed. He
Yeah.
failed. Simply failed.
Yeah.
So Windows updates fixed to the original version of the Windows, and iOS is fixed into the Apple phone. Still, these are man-made companies, but God have to be more wise and omnipotent and almighty and all these, that and these, and 99 fake names, fake profiles for Allah. It's 99 names. This is Rahman, Rahim,
Yeah.
Quddus, and all these things, and very wise and all. But he couldn't do this simple update of to the man with his own message. So it's a total failure. And then
Yeah.
even you see that the incident of lifting Jesus according to Quran. taking Isa up to the sky is another failure. Why you faked another man?
Yeah.
I don't say it's a true, but it is mentioned in Quran.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a problem with the religion not really matching what we understand to be reality, and more every day that's what we find, right?
Yeah, yeah, and Muslims mostly try to force themselves to see Islam as a solution. Actually, it is not the solution. Okay, I don't say that as a total package, Islam is the worst. No, there are good side and the bad side. So why do we need to take something with good and bad when we have an option to go with good things, like with
Yeah.
your own brain? You know that one. Okay, you should not defecate in the streets in a
Yeah.
public place. Yeah, you know that one. You don't need to read a book. This was written 1,400 years to go know that one. Even there's not a single place where it is in Islam. It's mentioned that you should wash your hand before having your meal.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
that's
challenge anybody can bring me one hadith saying that you should wash your hand before eating. No, it says that suck your fingers after having the meal or give it to another person to suck.
yeah.
But it didn't
To
say
like,
that you should wash your hand before that one. This is a simple,
yeah.
simple, simple health guidance. But Islam didn't know that one.
Yeah.
So why do we need this one? We don't need that one.
Yeah. So then what happened? So you became religious and you found your way out of Islam. Do you want to talk about you know what? Maybe before we talk about that, just want to mention that there's a Sri Lankan here that he's mentioning that the majority of Muslims in Sri Lanka, the comment's gone. Oh, here we go. He's saying it's not fair to generalize Sri Lankan Muslims. There's several strands. So what he's on about is the extreme Salafi movement. Most of us are Shafi Asharis. Would you agree with that? That most Muslims in Sri Lanka are Shafis, they're not Wahhabis or whatever you call it. You said you were going to tell me about how the Sufis or the ones that are not Wahhabis, somehow this has enabled the extremism. You want to talk about that and
Yeah,
respond to this?
I want to talk about that one. And first, I want to tell this guy that I didn't accuse Sri Lankan Muslims.
Okay.
Uh, so most of them are innocent, but they are the victims, ultimate victim of Islam. So I voice for their liberation, not for any other religion mostly. So because they are in the shoes once I was wearing. So I want them to know the truth. So I don't hate Muslims and I don't criticize Muslims. I don't blame them. A normal Muslim layman. Okay, then I have to say that Sufism, or they call this guy say this Shafi. Well, I don't know. Asharis. I don't know this. Asharis. Is Asharis is a Shiite
No,
question?
Ashari is basically the no, it's the opposite of Salafis. So the Salafis take everything literally. They say throne of
Okay.
Allah is the hands of
Okay.
Allah, hands. The Asharis, they're more metaphorical. From my understanding, it was influenced by Greek philosophy, and so
Okay. The Falsafa
it's
Yunan.
more consistent logically because they say that Allah's hands could be His power and His
All
dominion,
right.
and
Okay.
so
Okay.
it's unfalse. It's
So
harder to false.
what do
So
they say
they all
for the
and they all tend to be like Hamza Yusuf. So they say
Mhm.
like apostasy law, it doesn't need to be there. Just like that guy was telling you on Twitter, that was arguing with you, was saying the goal
Yeah.
are the maqasid are the most, and I understand that there is Muslims that see it that way, and it's good that they see Islam in this way, because these type of people, they can bring Islam forward into the 21st century much easier than Salafis that want to bring the world back into the 7th century, right? These type of Muslims that see Islam as more malleable, they will say, but of course it's still problematic because you always go back to what the Quran and Sunnah say, which is a problem. But they say the goals of Sharia are, preserving lineage, preserving life, and whatever, and preserving the religion. So of course preserving the religion could mean anything, right? So like Hamza Yusuf would say apostasy law is not needed anymore because it pushes more people away from Islam. But back then it was connected to treason or whatnot. So he's just saying, I don't know if that's accurate or not. I don't know if it even matters because we're not generalizing Muslims here. We're just saying, we're talking about Islam, and yes, there's some bad elements in Sri Lanka. I think that's what you're saying. There's some bad elements in Sri Lanka. We're not talking about the majority. Is
Okay.
that
Yeah. Yeah, and I want to ask these guys that what do they say for the if the hand of Allah is something power or something? What do they say for the sword of Muhammad? But it is that one that. So anyway, that is the one part. I am from I am from a Shafi Madhab family. I'm from Jaffna, and most of the almost all the Muslims are Shafis. And first, I start to learn prayer from Book of Shafi prayer. That in my language they call Tolhe Shafi, the prayer Shafi, or Book of Shafi prayer book. That was the famous book in Sri Lanka. So I
Hmm.
learned prayer from that book. So I used to be a Shafi Madhhabi. But okay, yeah, I will continue. So this guy that Sufis or Shafis are the gateway to the extremism. How it happened, uh, when these guys start bringing Islam into the non-Muslim lands in a peaceful version. So these people are actually peaceful, as you said. These Shafis or the Sufis, very peaceful
Yeah,
compared to
the
the Salaf.
non-Islamists, right? The non-Islamists, the Muslims that just want to pray and fast or whatever, right?
Yeah, that's it. So that's how they come into the Sri Lanka also. Sri Lanka is a Buddhist majority country. So, but they came in and they were welcomed because they were loved by Buddhists because they were peaceful. They were good people, but they had something in Arabic. One is Quran, Bukhari, Muslim, and all these things. There's a masjid, there's a tariqa in the south of Sri Lanka where they recite Bukhari for 40 days. And end of the 40th day, they have a huge feast, but they
They
recite Bukhari cover to
Bukhari?
cover. Yeah, Bukhari cover to cover in Arabic. They recite it, and 40th day they did this one. This tariqa is called the Bukhari tariq Takia. Okay, they did this one. 100,
Wow.
100 years, and Sri Lankan government arranged special train to carry the what do you call
Book?
followers. Okay, they arranged this special train. So Wahhabis came in the 90s. This started by Jamaat Islami in late 50s and 60s and 70s. The seeds were planted, but it started in full swing from 90s. This Wahhabist, these people came to Sri Lanka. They didn't carry their own book. They come and call the people. You have Quran, open it and read it. You have Bukhari. You are just reciting it in Arabic from cover to cover. Just read it, what it is said. In Bukhari, it said, kill those who live in Islam. And in the hadith, there are a lot of hadiths cut, chopping the hand and stoning and all these kind of stuff. Actually, stoning is not in Bukhari, I guess, I'm not sure. But this kind of
Uh,
stuff in Bukhari, in Muslim, in,
well, yeah, it's in one of the Hadith books, Muslim or
yeah,
Bukhari.
yeah,
One of
and
the
yeah.
authentic books for sure. I think it's in Bukhari too because I remember I made a video on it.
Okay,
The woman.
there's monkeys were throwing stone at the monkey
No,
which
no,
did the,
not that one. The actual woman who admitted she was. Yeah, that one is funny. But this was a more
yeah.
serious one about someone that admitted that she committed adultery, and then Muhammad stoned her, had her stoned to death because she said 3 times, "I committed zina. I committed
I,
zina."
okay, and this lady was pregnant, and he sent her back,
Yes.
and you have a delivery, and after that, okay, breastfeed your child, and yeah, okay. Uh, so this was in Bukhari. So then, when these Wahhabis came and asked these Sufis to read the books, Wahhabism started growing very fast. This is how the Wahhabis movement started in Sri Lanka very fast because they didn't bring people from outside, they didn't bring new books. Everything was here. They just the everything was there. They just lit the fire. That's it.
Did they have the Bukhari in your local language as well, translated?
Yeah, started in Tamil.
Was it already there in Tamil? Like you said, they were reading in Arabic.
I guess it was translated by after this entering of the Wahhabist moments.
And do you
Yeah,
know who
after
tra- do you know who the publisher was? Is it it must have been probably because I know that the translation in English was done
Mhm,
by Mohsin Khan, which is a
mhm.
Saudi. I think he's a Saudi. I don't know if he's a Saudi guy, but it was funded or supported by Saudi Arabia or by the Saudi money or whatever you want to call it.
But about the local translation, no, I'm not pretty sure about the exact details, so I don't want to say the
Yeah, that's
what I
fine.
guess. Yeah. So,
So
but it was.
I totally hear what you're saying because I know that when I became Muslim, I mean, I converted from Ismaili. I like this appealed to me. This appeals to many people, the Salafism, because it's just like it's so easy. It's like you read the book and it's like it's there, and you're like, okay, well, that's what I need to do. And I know that even not just me, even Farhan Qureshi, who is a friend of mine who converted from
Hinduism.
converted from Ahmadiyya, he became Salafi too. And so
Okay.
there's a lot of people we when we read the book, it's just easy to just kind of see that this makes sense with this is what Muhammad was doing. Now you're telling us this is what we need to do. Yeah, it makes sense, right? And then when you look at, I don't know, I think somehow it just appealed to me. But some people, of course, they think Wahhabism is bad, and it is bad from other perspective. But in the terms of like fitting the text, it's a very easy thing to fit the text, right? That's why it's comes back over and over again.
Right, true. And
Sorry, one more thing I forgot to mention is very important. And of course, the fact that the Saudi money is funding all of these Salafi scholars, University of Medina, who, Yasir Qadi, Bilal Phillips, Muhammad Al Sharif, so many popular speakers today went to University of Medina for free of charge. You can go to University of Medina. It's fully free of charge. You have to be, usually you have to be under 21. That's the rule. They will pay for your everything. They will even give you money on top of that. And then, of course, you come back to Canada. Now you're preaching Salafism. So this is why the oil money it's caused the whole world. I mean, this Salafi movement has spread like wildfire because of Saudi money. And it wasn't like that, like, in the past. Islam was, not like this, like it is today. Like Pakistan and the way they want to like establish like apostasy law and it wasn't like that in the past. This is a really modern thing where you have nation states doing this.
yeah, true, true. Even in Sri Lanka, also the Saudi money has a big influence. Not only Saudis, Qatari money, and there are reports that Turkish money also to form a khilafat to Jamaat Islam. Anyway, that one guy asked about. I studied only the Wahhabist version or the Salafist version of Islam, and he was following the Sufist version or whatever. Now the can is open, the worms are out. You can't put it back, right? So you can't say that okay, we are going to go back and follow Islam like it was in 70s, and we didn't know Arabic, and we didn't see the translation of Bukhari, and we didn't see the translation of Quran. No, you can't do it. What is done cannot be undone, right? So now its can is open. So people know that what is Wahhabism and what is in Hadith and all. So now I am asking this guy question. It is about which version of Islam you are following. No, it is not about what version of Islam you're following. The question is whether Islam came from an almighty, omnipotent God who created the whole world or not. I don't care which version of Islam you're going to follow, whether apologistic version, moderate version, Sufism, Ahmadiyya, or Salafism, Wahhabism, whatever it is. My question is that a religion came from the God who created all the human beings? Jews, Christians, and all the human beings, not the Muslims, all the human beings or not. If you find an answer, thereafter you can decide whether you're going to follow it or not. If it is not, leave it. Why you're just grabbing, okay, it is not from the God, but I just want this part only. No. So this guy cannot say that. Even inside Sufis also, they have difference between themselves. Qadriya, Shaduliya, Naqshbandiya, and all these tariqas, and they call their sheikhs are the proper one and descendants of the Prophet Muhammad and all. So they have their differences, but now they don't talk about their differences in public because they are in the huge attack from the Salafis. The wave of attacks coming from Salafis, and they cannot face it. So then they just try to show that they are one unit. So Sufis, but they are not one unit. Of course, they are not.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
have
this is
difference between.
attack by certain Muslims where they will say, "Oh, you used to be Salafi, so you don't know anything about Islam." And then the funny thing is, I have Sufi friends where they're also told by Salafis, "Oh, you're a Sufi, you don't know anything about Islam." So everybody is trying. Oh, you used to be Ahmadi, but what the thing they're not getting is every like EXMNA, ex-Muslims of North America, did an informal survey, and what they found is the results. I posted the results on my Twitter. The breakdown of the demographics of ex-Muslims is almost identical to the breakdown of Muslims. So you have 10 or 15% Salafi, you have 5% Shia ex-Muslims, you have whatever 2% Ahmadiyya ex-Muslims. It's representative. Like from every sect people are leaving Islam because the core is broken. Whether or not you are Salafi or not Salafi, whether or not you are a Shari and you think Islam is, the is able to move forward, whatever the case is, the core Quran itself is broken, even without the Hadith. Even if you're a Quranist, so with Quranism, it's totally different because they're just interpreting the Quran however they want. It doesn't have any context, any historical context or anything. So they're just making it up as they go along. So I don't even talk to Quranists because I don't even care about Quranism. It's such a niche that there's no point talking about it. So yes, the core of Islam is broken. That's what we're trying to say.
Yeah, that's true. This is somebody said that avalanche of ex-Muslims.
So tell me how you were. Can we talk about how ISIS or these terrorists targeted you? How did that happen?
All right, okay, I'll come to the point. And after leaving Islam in 2013, I was silent for a period, like I was confused. And in 2014 onwards, I started just expressing my doubts, and it developed into questioning Islam and presenting constructive criticism about Islam. So it kind of going forward, most of the people were thinking that, okay, I'm Shia, like that. But this ISIS people, like local ISIS guys, found out that I have left Islam. But I didn't publicly announce that I'm an ex-Muslim or I left Islam. I didn't say, but they asked questions like I was always trying to escape from the question. But they found that I have left Islam.
How, like on based on Facebook posts or something?
Yeah, from my Facebook post. I was only presenting my criticism, constructive criticism on my Facebook. So these guys have decided to kill me. I didn't know, but I started receiving death threats. They were somewhat serious. So in 2016, that means almost 3 years before the Easter Sunday attack, 2016 July, I went to the police, terrorism investigation department, and I made a complaint about the death threats, and I gave them the statement about these suspected ISIS activities, and I informed them about these those who committed this those who carried out the suicide attack 3 years later. I gave their names also. These people are engaged with suspected activities and all this. I made this statement in 2016, but they did nothing. Then in 2017, I started receiving death threats again. Then 2017, I made 2 complaints to them with screenshots and all the proofs that I went to the police headquarters and I made the complaints. Nothing was done. In 2018, it was like a part and parcel of my life. Like I didn't, I learned to ignore it because when there are death threats, I know that this police is not going to do anything. So that I left. I just left it. And so while it was going on,
can we talk about why? Okay, so what I want to say is, just to be clear, I mean, because people might not understand this, so just to emphasize this, death threats are of many different categories. So there's death threats that I get online, and a lot of them are just trolls. They're just like, I will kill you, but they're not really going to kill me. They're in Pakistan or something, right? They're just angry. But what you're getting, you're not getting that. You're getting from Sri Lankan extremists living there who know you.
Yeah,
these are not trolls. These are real, credible death threats.
Yeah, there were trolls also, but there were credible threats also. When you read these threats, you will find it like mostly you can guess what kind of person is behind this one. So I started getting this kind of death threats. That's what I went to the police and I made the complaint when I received serious threats. So, but they took no action. So in 2018, completely, I lost my trust on police and I didn't do any complaints. I just started to learn to ignore the threats. Like I had to live with this one. Like you have to live with COVID-19, something like that. So I just gave it up, making complaint to police. Then in 2019, to end of 2018, this some kind of thing started. The smoke has started come out, like the destruction of the Buddha statues and founding of some warehouse of weapons and this kind of things the police found, but that's nothing was in large. But in April 21st, island-wide suicide attacks. A lot of 8 or 9 attacks were carried out by these people with the 260 odd deaths. So days after the death, police woke up from a deep coma, started arresting these whomsoever left from this
This
gang.
was after what? After the Easter bombings?
Yeah, after the Easter bombing, only the police, Sri Lankan police and
Ah,
intelligence, woke up from a long coma, from the coma. So then started arresting people. From the arrested suspects, they found the details of how they tried to kill me twice. They found it. So one of these guys have given the details of how they followed me and where from where and where did they go and where did they have the tea and where my friends were and how they I traveled by the bus and all. They have how they followed and how they failed because the places where they followed had CCTV camera surveillance and a lot of people. Like if they had shot me or killed me, there are a lot of witness. So they would say there's this kind of guy crime. So then their big plan will be spoiled. Easter Sunday was their big plan that will be spoiled. That day I went into a house that belongs to one of my relatives. That was somewhere near my house. These people thought that was my house. Then another day they broke into that house, thinking that that was my house, but they didn't
damn.
find me. Yeah, they didn't find me. But these details I didn't know. That owners of the house thought that some drug addicts have broken into the house to steal something for selling, stealing something. But they also did not know the guys from the integration. The police found about these details. Then they came to me and told this and this date. Did you go for a protest here? That was a protest I participated for the asking justice for uh, sexually abused girls from a children home. So they had followed me. So then I remembered that day because I was protesting in front of Ministry of Children and Women Affairs. So then I remembered all my route. So they had given the same exact map how I traveled and where I meted people, where I had my tea, and where my friends dropped me in the bus, and how I traveled by bus and all. Even they had tried to create a situation where that I would it would look like I died in an accident. But okay, that day I was kind of very decent walker. I didn't do any jaywalking, so I survived. They couldn't succeed in that one also. So then after the bomb blast only, the police found these things. Then following this one, I went in front of the parliamentary select committee carrying these books where I teaching the murdering of or killing of the apostates and all. And about this Al Hasanat, the Yusuf Al Karlawi's fatwa, which is saying that suicide attacks can be carried out. But unfortunately, at that time, the information police told me, intelligence told me was kind of sensitive information. The parliamentary select committee chose not to uh, give that part to the media. That part of my statement was recorded without the presence of media. The rest of the part was only aired in the media. So most of the people thought that I went to the parliamentary select committee just to talk about this book.
Oh.
So, so now it is not no more top secret. So it's out. So that's I open up here. So this is how they try to kill me today.
So you're saying they only aired the part where you're talking about the books, but you actually talked to them about a lot more things than that. What else did you
Yeah.
talk to them about?
Actually, the main point was the my previous complaints and how they tried to kill me. This was the main thing.
Oh,
But these things were not aired because uh, this information were not told by me. This is informed to me by intelligence. So since the
oh.
intelligence were involved at that time, it was considered as uh, kind of sensitive information.
So
So
then
that was
now I see it was classified. So
yeah.
now that this happened, what happened to you after that? Since you came on TV and all that.
Well, when I went to the Parliament Select Committee, then I had to take oath first thing. So traditionally in the Sri Lankan oath, you have to take oath with your name and religion. So I said that I don't have a religion, I can't take this oath. So then they said, oh, no, you can mention one of these. They are Christian, Muslim, Christian, Islam, Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, and Hindu is mentioned. I said, no, I don't belong to any of these. So finally, there was a discussion. I guess I was the first to do such a oath, and I took my oath only by my name. They allowed me it finally. One of the parliamentarian explained to the committee okay, this guy is an atheist. This is what atheism. That most of the even some of the parliament members had no clue. That they asked what your religion, and as my first question, I said I don't follow any religion, and it was also a surprise to them. Sri Lanka is a country by constitution you have the religious freedom, but
Mhm.
in these school books it says that you have to be killed.
Wow.
So it's contrary to the constitution. The basic right that's guaranteed by the constitution is uh, directly attacked by the school books.
Hmm.
So then I took the oath, and after I declared myself as an ex-Muslim in front of the media. That the following day, leading national newspapers and TV channels were broadcasting my statement and all. Then that was a big backlash I had to face, and I was forced to leave my home. That was almost 1 year and 3 months back. Since then, I didn't return my home. I couldn't, and so I was forced to leave my home. I became a public enemy of Muslims, but they didn't realize that I am talking for their rights because I was once a victim of Islam. So Muslims are the ultimate victims of Islam. So they should be liberated. So at least they should know what they are following. For example, the one who is drinking and smoking, the one smoking knows that what he's smoking, this is nicotine, and long-term smoking can cause cancer and all. He has the knowledge. When he's buying this cigarette, he knows what it is inside, and it is all the government warnings are printed in the cigarette pack. But when you are start taking the Quran and start reading, you don't know what it is inside. You just read it in Arabic and thinking that it is come from a peaceful prophet, from a peaceful religion, from an omnipotent God, and all. So here I have this is a Sinhalese translation of Quran, and this is another one done by another people, and uh, this one done by another group. All these three translation have different translation. This one another contradict in small issues when it comes to jihad, jizya kind of things, and they have differences with one another. Why there are difference in Quran translation? And even after, if you go to Quran.com, you can find around 10 to 12 translation from Yusuf Ali, Pickthall, Maududi, and all these things. Even after you pick one translation and you come and criticize Islam, like this kind of Sufi people or somebody, some apologists will come and say, no, the translation is wrong. This is a wrong translation. You got it wrong. But I have a question.
Yeah.
When it comes to Hadith, I never heard anybody say that this is wrong translation. Why? Because you have a different ball to play. This Hadith is
Uh-huh.
daif, not authentic. You can't
Yeah.
play that ball with Quran. So then you have to play a different ball, saying this
Yeah.
translation is wrong. So
Yeah.
this is pure hypocrisy.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So you faced the backlash. You had to leave home. You had Did you have like angry mobs against you, or they threatened you even more, or like they just made your life a living hell? Like what happened exactly?
Well, my family is Muslims, and their relatives are Muslims, and neighbors were Muslims, and
Oh,
there were a lot of pressure to my family, and even many of my family members don't talk to me, many of them,
oh,
and there are a lot of it was a pressure built on them, and I happened to leave. I was forced to leave. There was no option but for me to stay because even the community also I was portrayed as the enemy of the religion, so I had no option. I had to leave. So it was 1.5 year, sorry, 1 year and 2 3 months. That was in June 21st. I went in front of the Parliamentary Select Committee, 2019. Immediately following that one, I had to leave my home.
wow. That's tough. It's tough to have to, like lose everything in your life based on, the fact that whether you believe or disbelieve, something that's in your head, something that's really should be personal. I mean, the Quran says, "Lakum dinukum waliya deen." To use your religion to me is my religion. Yet, in practical reality, that's not implemented. People are forced to believe, and you cannot leave the religion, and you face all of these consequences, even if you're not actually killed. Even if you're not killed, the sacrifice is so immense, and it's so tragic that anyone has to go through this. And the people that do the sacrifice, people like yourself, that come out and you're doing it so that other people don't have to do it, so that nobody else has to leave Islam and have to pay any price for leaving Islam.
Actually, I didn't choose to become an atheist activist or an ex-Muslim activist. I actually my choice was to follow Islam from my heart genuinely, but I end up here. This was not my choice, but Islam made me to come this way.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is the, but I willing to accept this one because when Islam show me this way, okay, I am wrong, you have to go because you are thinking properly, you are not a fool, so you have to leave. So then I came to this level. So but choosing to come to this level is my choice, so that I have to accept. And at least I am here for other people, like I am a public face for ex-Muslim in Sri Lanka. So at least somebody have doubt about Islam or something, that they can have the courage to leave. Okay, they know that they can leave. Okay, there are people who have already left. And
Yeah. And
you said about lakum dinukum waliyadin. Well, this is kind of the biggest motto to cheat people, to fool people. Okay, you know this one, right? Muhammad, when he declared himself as a prophet, he was 40. Till the age of
mhm,
53, that he lived in Mecca with one wife at a time. He
yeah.
never had two wives uh, simultaneously during his Meccan period. He was very, comparatively, he was peaceful.
Yeah.
And you know about this famous hadith, that one lady who used to throw garbage on his head every day, and a few days that she didn't throw, that Muhammad was upset, why this lady didn't throw garbage on me, and she went and see this lady was sick and he prayed for her or something like that, and this lady accepted Islam. So this was a good person, he, when he was
Yeah.
in
Well,
Mecca.
apparently that story is fabricated.
Really? Oh, okay. Then I withdraw this one. Okay.
Well,
So
one is,
whatever.
this is a popular story in the Muslim
Okay.
narrative, but it's actually
Okay.
known by Salafis to be a fabrication. But they still use it. Muslims still use it. Most of them don't know
Mm.
this, so they're using it. But yeah, this one is a fabrication.
Okay. I didn't know that one, but now I got to know. Okay.
No, but
Whatever.
you said is true that he had no power in the Meccan
Yeah.
period. So
And and
there's no,
and he
they were,
was peaceful.
yeah, and he was being persecuted, not the other way around.
Yeah, and he was peaceful. But once he moved to Medina, he got the power from two warring tribes. He united them because warring tribes mean they are warriors. They know how to fight.
Yeah.
So they were well-trained army. So he united them, and cunningly he became the leader. Okay, he became the leader. And after that, what you know from Makkah is totally upside down in Medina. He had 10 wives at a time. The guy who had only one wife, but he had 10 wives at a time, sexual slavery, robberies, uh, lootings, wars, murders, and all these things started in Medina. So the Lakum Dinukum Waliyadin was in Mecca. You know, it's a simple thing. Like in Quran, even if you find two contradicting verses,
Yeah.
you will take the latest one as the valid one. For example, the prohibition of consuming alcohol. All these versions, first it's prohibit while you are praying, and later on it was completely prohibited. But both verses can be found in the Quran. But you don't take the first one because it belongs to the period of the earlier period. But the second one overruled the first one. So the lakum dinukum waliyadin, if it is contradicts with somebody, you leave Islam, kill, or what it is in 9:5, uh, stay in besiege for your enemies, or chop off their fingertips and like legs and hands, or crucify them, killing of apostates. If it is in Medina, the Meccan verses are nullified. They are not valid. It is the Medinan verses and Medinan preachings overrule this one. This is a simple logic. But Muslims, when they want to fool these leftists or these people in the West or non-Muslim people who didn't know, who don't know much about Islam in depth, they say, "Yeah, it's a beautiful. You see, lakum dinukum waliyadin." What it is, a beautiful verse. Then
Yeah.
why did Muhammad break the idols in Kaaba?
Yeah, and not just Kaaba, but he also sent armies to
Destroy.
break Lat, the idol of Lat, and he sent Khalid bin Walid. There's um, two two idols, two big idols. I forget which one it was, but he actually sent
Mhm.
Khalid with an army to go and break the idol. So it was not even like this was like places where he wasn't in power. He was actually sending armies to go and destroy idols. So yeah, this is not what you call tolerant, not what you call
Dulkas,
it.
Dulkasa,
I
Dulkasa.
in my article, I don't remember right now, but yeah, whichever one it was, he went
Okay.
actually sent an army. Yeah, okay, I found it right here. But and what that shows is that this isn't a peaceful. peaceful, tolerant religion, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
so he sent Khalid bin Walid to the area of Nakhla, where the idol of Uzza was erected on 3 trees of a forest, right? So that was Uzza, and then the other one was Allat in Taqif, right? So I'll share the link if anyone wants to read the details on that. But yeah, I mean, we all know that this is not a tolerant religion by any means. If like Buddhism, for example, we don't find there's no such thing as ISIS Buddhism. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yes. Yes.
And we don't. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
And according to hadith that you share now, that hadith of the breaking of Lat and Uzza, Muhammad contradict with his own Quran verses. Whereas lakum dinukum waliyadi. What happened to lakum dinukum waliyadi?
And it's difficult. These examples are very powerful because it's difficult to argue with what Muhammad did. You know what I mean? Like these are big examples where he's actually sending armies. The other example is just before he died, his dying words to Osama was to go fight the Romans. And his orders, I mean, assuming this is true in the hadith, we don't know for sure, but this is part of Sunni Islam, is to kick
Mhm.
out all of the non-Muslims from Arabia, right? From the
Oh yeah,
Arabian Peninsula. So
correct.
the Arabian Peninsula has to be only for Islam, basically. So this is not like this man was not looking to live in peace and harmony with the Jews and Christians and the polytheists. He was looking to establish dominance over them, and even the whole idea of jizya, taking jizya in humiliation. Even Quranists, I mean, how do you get out of the fact that it says take jizya in humiliation and humiliate them? It's not even like, because they try to say jizya is like a protection tax. I mean, what are you saying, that Islam is an mafia or something, that you have to be protected, you have to pay a tax to be protected?
Yeah, true, true, true. Yeah, yeah. And I have a message to these all peace loving or the Muslims who really think Islam is a peace. Okay, guys, if you think that Islam is a peaceful religion and you are following, believing it's a peaceful religion, I respect your intention, but I have to tell you that you are cheated. You are in the wrong way. Your intentions are very good, but you are following a wrong thing. So, if you really love peace, Islam is not the place for you.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. um so just to make an announcement, while before we do any sort of questions or closing remarks. For those of you who are appreciating the channel and you're a subscriber here, if you're not a subscriber, do subscribe. If you're listening to this on a podcast app, as we now have a podcast version, please do leave a review for it. It helps the podcast get more visibility. If you'd like to support my work, please do consider joining me on Patreon. A small donation every month does help, and it helps me to plan out my finances, to hire people, to get editors and graphics designers. There's actually a lot of work involved in running a YouTube channel, and I would love to actually do other things in life as well, like go to the gym and things like that. And so your money does help. Your money allows me to spend less time on this while continuing to create more content, because I do have a full-time job. This is activism is my passion, but it is not my livelihood. My livelihood comes from my full-time job. So for those of you who understand, I do appreciate and those of you who have donated, and to my fellow mods, thank you guys so much for moderating the chat, keeping it kosher, so to speak. Keeping the peace in the chat, and making sure that no one's spamming and all that. Especially John Stopman, who's here right now. Thank you for coming, and thank you to as well to the Sri Lankan freethinker, who was actually donated to the channel as well. So thank you so much. And Rishwin, this has been amazing. Like you've actually shared a lot of gems. I can understand that if Muslims are talking to you, like it's hard to really respond to your points, because I can see that you've thought about these points a lot. And like, for example, the rebuttals you're coming up with, the fact that you're able to explain the difference between Makkah and Medina. Like you're going to be a powerful force, and you should keep doing what you're doing. You should keep talking about Islam. I know none of, like you said, you didn't choose to become an activist. And that's kind of that's a funny thing in life, that you get put in front of a certain situation, and then people benefit from that, right? And that's what happened with me, and that's what's happening with you. I can see that the reason why people love you is because you're doing something to make the world a better place. You're trying to make the world a place where everyone can just be themselves, and if Muslims are able to convert from Christianity to Islam, many famous converts were former Christians, including Hamza Yusuf, Bilal Phillips, Cat Stevens, even. Well, why is it that it's okay for that, but when one of us leaves Islam, we're supposed to be killed, right? You gotta wonder. And the things you brought up about slavery, and the things you brought up about Aisha and the child marriage, the reason these points keep coming up is because they're unsettling, right? We know, like, no one needs to tell you that child marriage is wrong. You just feel it when you see a picture of like a young lady, like a very young lady with an old man. You're just like, well, this is not right. I mean, this doesn't sit well with me. This doesn't make sense. And yes, we can say that whatever Muhammad did back then, if you want to say it's a special exception, okay, well, then we can say it's a special exception. But Muslims don't say that. Muslims say he was a man for all times. The slavery thing you mentioned, Jonathan Brown said that in his book on slavery, that the sexual part of the slavery is one of the most troubling things in Islam. And it's not easy to explain it away because it's very problematic. It's problematic. It just is. And even Jonathan Brown is admitting it. And, even when he was writing the book, he had to worry about backlash, right? Because, he's in the middle where he's trying to, on one hand, he's trying to be the Muslim scholar and he wants to defend Islam. At the same time, you can't defend some of these things because they're just wrong, right? So, he had to really try to make it sound like this was something common and this is what everybody did and all of the different people did it. But the fact is, when you see such a thing, you feel uncomfortable with it because it's bad, right? So those of you who are facing doubts from things like this, don't let Muslims tell you that there's nothing wrong with this. Listen to your heart, listen to your conscience that's telling you that something is wrong here, and this is what will lead you out of Islam into the truth, right? And I know nobody's looking to leave Islam. Like none of us wanted to leave Islam. Rishvin didn't want to leave Islam. I didn't want to leave Islam. I actually deleted all my posts on Islam when my friend offered to talk to me, and I said, okay, now this guy is going to help me come back to Islam. So I deleted all my posts, and then of course he didn't. He wasn't able to resolve the issues, because the issues are not resolvable. So Rishwin, do you want to add any final words to your fellow Sri Lankans, to the fellow ex-Muslims all over the world? Would you like to tell them anything? Would you like to say anything that we missed that you want to cover? Anything like that?
Before giving them a message, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. Before giving my message to Muslim, I would like to say there are a lot of comments. I didn't read them because I have to focus on the program. So I thank those who watch the program also. But if there are anybody who just watch this one because of me from Sri Lanka, well, you might have seen about Abdullah Samir. If you don't know, just go to his YouTube channel. He has a lot of videos about Islam, and he has a different channel for Abdullah Samir clips. So there you can find small clips about talking about small issues, but most of all, very important, here's a very nice website. So abdullahsamir.com. So that website also have a lot of information in English, and his YouTube channel has information. So just don't depend on us for everything in Sri Lanka because we have very limited capacity. By following his channel and watching his video also, you can gain a lot of knowledge about Islam. When somebody try to misguide you or try to lie you, you can find it one. And also for the Muslims also, when you have free time, just go and watch these videos, and it can enlighten you more about what you are thinking about Islam, and it will give you more depth analyzing about the things in Islam. Okay, then I come to my message to the Muslims in Sri Lanka. Well, it's always my same message I have to say: study Islam properly with an open mind. Especially study the life of Muhammad, Meccan life, and without compromising. Be strong to call a spade a spade. So then I don't ask you to leave Islam. I don't ask you to follow Islam, but study his life, how he lived, and what is necessary, what was necessary, and also think that if this man is a prophet for us to be followed today or not. And Islam says he has the Uswatul Hasana, the beautiful example. So whether he had it or not. You have to study this, learn his Makkan life. I don't say you to go read Dawkins or Sam Harris or that and this. No need. Study Quran and Hadith. That's enough. That's my message.
Wonderful. Yeah, thank you. That's very kind of you to tell people to read my blog. Yeah, my blog is still my it's my it's my sadaka jariya that I'm leaving for the world after I'm gone. The YouTube channel is the fun part of it, right? Like talking to people, learning about other people's experiences and journeys and what they've been through. It really, for some people I think that really solidifies. And yeah, thank you for reminding me about the second channel. I forgot to mention that there is a second channel, and if you can please join it. In this activism world, you need to have a backup plan, because Muslims are always mass reporting. I love that part of your story. That was amazing. I'm gonna make a clip of that. How you were in a group that people are mass reporting, and then it actually backfired, which is
Yeah,
which is amazing.
yeah. I used to be a pious guy. I never dared to read anything written by Salman Rushdie or any criticism about Islam. I didn't. But these guys paved me the way to get to know the whole new world.
Yeah. So that just shows you that actually, like the things that we're doing are actually having the impact. And so you do stay safe, Rishvin, do stay safe. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for even though you didn't choose to do this, you are doing it now. You could have. I know there was an example of a man that was, I mean, I don't blame him, but he was interviewed by Zakir. He was on Zakir Naik's show, and he said, I'm ex-Muslim. Well, he said, I'm not Muslim anymore. And he was in front of, like, I don't know, like 10,000 people in Maldives. And then after that, he came back to Islam. He had to. He had no choice. He was pressured into this. So, there is different like strategies for dealing with the apostasy. The strategy you took is to be authentic, to be open, and to be true with yourself, and to be true with everybody, and to change the world, right? Like, you're taking a really bold stand. So, I support you in everything that you're doing. If anything comes up that you need help, if you ever do leave the country, or if things improve in any way and you want to talk again, or if you need help or anything like that, do let me know. You're always welcome on the channel as a fellow. Maybe you can come in one of the call-in shows in the future. But I just want to say thank you. And to everybody who is there any social media you want to share? Your Twitter? Can I share your Twitter, or is it something you prefer to share?
Facebook, and but
Okay.
I prefer that Council of Exmuslim Sri Lanka Facebook page. That's what.
Okay.
Oh, my Facebook account, both because we are active more on that one.
Okay. Sounds good. Council
Facebook.
of Muslims of Sri Lanka on Facebook, you're saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
cmsl.org. Facebook.com/cmsl.org.
Okay, I will share the link in the description. Right after oh yeah, I found it. Okay, cemsl.org. Okay, let me just share that on the screen as well, so everybody can see that, because we do want people to support this movement and this cause. So if you can, this is the one.
Yes, this is the one. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So if you guys can all please go, and if you're on Facebook, go and give that a like and follow. And so we want to support this movement however we can. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to raise awareness. We're going to support it. If there's any fundraisers or anything like that coming up, we can always donate, join the live streams, join the conversations, give visibility to these things, right? So everyone, please do go and do that right now. If, like I said, if you're on Facebook and you don't have a problem liking this page because of privacy issues or whatever, go ahead and do that right now, please. And thank you. And Rishwin, it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much.
It's a great pleasure. It's a great pleasure to me also, because Abdullah Samir was a big figure when I was getting out and see this your first interview about why you left, and you talk about your transformation from the Shia Ismaili to Salafist, and I found something like, okay, there are people have gone through the same way. Maybe some steps may be different, but the same way. I was today. I'm really happy that I got the chance to be in your channel. It's like. like a dream come true.
That's the thing. Like we somehow end up finding each other because even though it's a big world, it's also a small world in so many ways. So like people that are like-minded, like just like you have people that are like-minded to ISIS, they get attracted to ISIS. And there's people like us, freedom-loving, secular-loving, democracy-loving people, and we are all attracted to each other, and we end up finding each other, and we, together we're stronger. Right? We're gonna help. This is why I do what I do, because I'm able to, and I'm safe. So I'm able to have a platform. I'm able to continue doing this. I'm going to continue doing this. And I want to bring up, people like yourself who are in the battlefield, fighting the battle of ideas in the places where we need it most of all. In Canada is one thing, but in Sri Lanka, it's a whole different issue altogether. So this is where we need. And the fact that you're doing it in your local language, I mean, I have no access to people speaking Tamil. I actually just don't, unless they speak English as well. So, that local effort is what we really need and what we really need to support, which is why I'm, again, recommending everyone to do check out the Council of Ex-Muslims of Sri Lanka. And thanks for the conversation, and take care. Stay safe.
Okay, thank you very much, and have a nice day.
Bye. Okay, bye
Bye.
everyone, and thanks for joining us. And we'll see you again at the next episode.